Hello everybody, welcome. It's great to have you here. Thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Today we're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Amazon Music and about 30 other streaming sites. Altogether, we've got somewhere, I'm not quite sure where yet, but somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 people listening today. So that is just absolutely fantastic. It's not that I'm so great, it's that the technology is so great that we get so many people here, and that's really good to do. So I run these Results Mastery live sessions every day, pretty much every day. Occasionally I'll miss one because of other commitments, but pretty much Monday to Friday. So if you want to come along to any of those, please feel free to do so. If you want to sign up to my Results Mastery University, you get notified and you get loads of other training and advice and so on and so forth. Just go to my website to find out about that. But that's not what you're here for. You're here to get an introduction into something I called LinkedIn Mastery. Because, LinkedIn, it's just such a massive site. We all know LinkedIn to some level. Probably everybody today who's on this show will be a member of LinkedIn. There's 30 million people in the UK. That's virtually half the UK population, and also worldwide. Last time I looked, it was just over 800 million people. So you've got about 1/7 of it, of the world's population on LinkedIn. So, it really is the place to be. Now, today, as you know, is all about how to make £100,000 plus on LinkedIn. Now, that might be a big statement to make for a 15-minute presentation. I'm sure you appreciate that. I can't tell you everything. I'm going to give you, some real good advice, some great tips that you can go away and learn and really be of value to you. However, what I am also going to do on today is just try and promote a workshop that I've got coming up. I'll tell you briefly about it. It starts on the 7th. It's every 7th of November. It's every Tuesday. It's 1 till 2 p.m. It's live with me at 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock. And you also get you get an hour with me on a one-to-one basis, and you also get access to my university. So, it's a real no-brainer in my opinion, because you should make at least, I'm going to say worst case 50 grand, hopefully over 100 grand plus. Let me just give you an overview of how that's done. And I'm going, if I may, to just share my screen. I've got a few PowerPoints to show you. So just bear with me for a second, please. Let me just see if I can firstly remember how to do this. I need to click that one there, and I need to go into here and then share screen. And where's my PowerPoint? Hang on. This is this is what's known as an interlude. Just where I find it. I need to just bear with me a second, guys. It's just it's called LinkedIn Mastery. Okay, so let's just go back. There it is. Couldn't see it. No, that's not it. Sorry. Let me just stop sharing again, and just going to try that one more time. Present, share screen, and that's not it. Why is that not what I'm looking for? It must be that. It's that. There we go. That's the one. There we are. Sorry about that. Just me being a bit stupid, to be honest, but never mind. Okay, so got a few slides, as I mentioned. So LinkedIn Mastery is what we're here to learn. I've been, not on LinkedIn, but I've been doing business growth advice now for 28 years, helping businesses to improve what they do. I've been doing this LinkedIn training for certainly over 10 years. I've had thousands of people through my training. Not all of them have made 100 grand. In fact, some of them have made absolutely nothing. Do you know why? Because they've done nothing. They've got on the training, I've called them up a month later, and they go, oh, well, I've been busy, I haven't really done anything. But my shining example, and this is absolutely 100% true, was one of the people who attended my workshop within 6 months made £42 million for his business, which he attributed to coming along to my LinkedIn Mastery workshop. £42 million. So he had a pretty good return on his investment there. But as I say, not everybody does that. Not everybody takes action, and not everybody is arguably as fortunate as him. I'm not going to read through that for you, but, suffice to say, I've been around for a little while. I've done lots of things. I've gained lots of experience. I've learned my skill, my craft from the world's leading sales and marketing experts. And that's just a little bit about me. So why LinkedIn? I've already said, it's 800 million people, 30 million people in the UK. It's the largest business database in the world. Now, if you're business to consumer and not business to business, don't worry. As long as your target market is, business people, which, it hopefully is, then you're definitely still in the right place. It's free to use, or at least most of it is. You can make money on LinkedIn without spending a penny. But what you can't do is to go on there, do very little, and hope to win business. It just simply won't happen. When I say it won't, you might be lucky. You might just, somebody might find you who's looking for what you do, and, you might win a little bit of business. But if you're not taking the required level of action, which I'll talk about in a little while, then, you're just leaving a pot of gold sitting on the table, and it's costing you money every single day. And I mean that most sincerely. If you're not winning business from LinkedIn, that is money that is going to somebody else and not to you. It really is. And, as it says there, LinkedIn, it's probably where your market hang out. That's where they are. That's the social media site they're on. That doesn't mean that they're not on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and so on and so forth, but they are almost certainly on LinkedIn. And lastly here, why LinkedIn? The advertising on here is just brilliant. I've been around for all those years, as I mentioned, and if you think about it, when were you able to advertise only to the people that you want to advertise to, and only pay if they're interested in enough to click on a link to go to your website? Because that's what LinkedIn advertising will do for you. It's just a fantastic opportunity, and it amazes me how many people don't actually do it. So LinkedIn advertising is a great opportunity for you. Before I go through the steps and a few other things that you ought to know about, I just wanted to show you this slide. I actually got this many years ago from a guy called Daniel Priestley. Daniel's a great guy, runs this business. In fact, I'm just show you his book. I think you can see me. Hopefully you can. Become a Key Person of Influence. Brilliant book. Go and buy this book. You can get it on Amazon. I'm not on commission. It's just a great book for anybody who wants to become a key person of influence, or perhaps a key business of influence. Really, really useful book there. So the 5 C's, let me just explain what they are. Actually, just before I do that, I'm going to tell people or just ask you to think about which step do you think people go to when they connect to people on LinkedIn? Like, you know, do they develop their crowd? Do they look at converting? What do? They basically go straight up to people and go, "Will you marry me?" or "Will you buy from me?" That's what they do. I get that all the time. Somebody says, "I'd like to connect to you because I was having a look at your website and I think there may be some value in connecting." So I go, "Yes." And literally 3 seconds later, they've sent me an email that's generally about 500 words. It's through LinkedIn and InMail, yeah? It's about 500 words that there's no way they've written in the last 3 seconds. It's just an automated process trying to sell me something. And they don't know who I am. They don't know anything. So my system is developed around the system in the book that I just showed you, where you take people who are strangers. You don't know them. You ask them to connect. Once you've got them to a level where you've communicated with them and you've got some action back, they've attended your LinkedIn event, they've read your blog post, they've posted something about you and or what you do somewhere, then they've turned it to level 2, which is visitors. They've visited you, they've watched a video, they've attended an event, they've been to your website, they've messaged you, they've emailed you back. Once we've got them to that level, the next step is your first date. So what is that? That is getting them to do a little bit more, perhaps buy something, perhaps spend a little bit of money, perhaps meet you. You know, your first date. This is a phone call where you speak to them. This is a Zoom call that you're on together. This is a Zoom call that you invite them as one of 10 people to a presentation that you're doing. And then once we've got them there, we move on to the next part of the relationship, which is customers, cash. Developing the relationship, getting that initial sale. But don't cut that back, because once we've got that, we've got this even better opportunity of creating what I call raving fans. In other words, continuity. People buying from you again and again and again and again. And that's really the methodology of everything that I do on LinkedIn. So it's not easy, it's not complicated, but it takes time and effort, and possibly a little bit of money if you want to invest in that. So let's have a look at the basics to start with. The basics are this. You know, you've got to have a really good personal and company profile. You need to get that set up. I know you've probably got one, but is it as good as it could be? The answer for most people, and I'd include myself in that, is no, it could be improved. So we're going to work on that. If you decide to join my LinkedIn Mastery program, the 6-week program, that's what we're going to work on. That's one of the things. Next, growing your list. You know, it's no use having a really attractive, well-written, lovely profile if nobody's looking. So we've got to grow your list, the number of people you're connected to. One of the biggest problems that we all have in business is the word obscurity. And that means nobody knows about us, or at least not enough people do. So we've got to become better at getting known on LinkedIn. You know, however big your profile is, I've got something like 10,500 people connect to me and follow me on LinkedIn. And, you know, I still work every day on getting more people into that strategy. Next, It's no use having a load of people if you're not communicating. So we've got to communicate with people. And people go, I hear all the time, people tell me, well, I'm on LinkedIn, Steve, and I'm posting at least twice a week. Do you know what posting twice a week is like? It's like going to the gym, doing 10 curls, and then going home grumbling that you're not yet fit. That's what it's like. It's like doing virtually nothing. It takes 5 minutes to do a post on LinkedIn, and you're doing 2 per week. That ain't going to win your business. Probably. Okay, so we need to think about our communication strategy. And again, on LinkedIn Mastery, we're going to develop, when you work with me on a one-to-one basis, you're going to develop a communication strategy just for you. You must, if you don't do anything else, put some time into it. How much time you're probably thinking? Well, at least half an hour a day. Everybody's got half an hour, and if you haven't got half an hour, quarter of an hour. I put in right now about probably half an hour a day of my own personal time. And I also have a lady that works for me that probably does maybe about the same. So maybe it's an hour a day, and that wins us over £100,000 a year, and has done for many, many years, with the exception of the COVID years, actually, where we only won about 30 or 40,000, but we did still win business even in that time. So they're the basics that we're going to cover. We then move on to the advanced strategies. What are they? Well, firstly, doing LinkedIn Lives, just like I'm doing now. How easy is it to get yourself out there on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, out onto Amazon Music, out onto iTunes and 30 other streaming sites? Well, it's blooming easy. Getting 7,000 people listening to this presentation right now is easy. Is it expensive, you're probably thinking? Well, I pay for StreamYard, which is the streaming service. I think I pay $20 a month, something like that. Might be $25. And then I pay to have a podcast. I use something called Spreaker. This is an example of the external things that we use, Spreaker, in order to get my podcast out on all those different streaming sites like iTunes and Amazon. And to be honest, that's where a lot of the traffic comes from those sites, from iTunes and Amazon, obviously just absolutely massive, Amazon Music. So we're going to show you how to do that and to set that up. Another great opportunity is newsletters. I can honestly tell you that I've got a newsletter. I've got a newsletter on LinkedIn, and I have never done anything. I've never put any effort in whatsoever to get people to follow or subscribe to my newsletter. And I've got over 2,000 people who are members. How cool is that? So I'm going to show you how to do that. And literally, by the end of the week that we show you how, or I show you how to do that, you will probably have at least 200 or 300 members. And you won't have had to do anything other than add an interesting article. Okay? So that'll work fantastically well. Next one, calls. You've got this thing called a smartphone, right? And if you don't use it to make calls, it's what I call a dumb phone. Because again, it's costing you money. You need to speak to your contacts on LinkedIn. That is probably one of the most powerful things that you could hear about winning business on LinkedIn. I know you might not like it. I know you might hate making cold calls, but these are not cold calls. These are lukewarm calls. They're contacts. They've already agreed to connect to you. Hopefully they've read your posts and seen your stuff. That's what you need. Next one, Sales Navigator. I'm going to talk to you about that and whether that's worthwhile. It's worthwhile, I think, once you've done a lot of the other stuff. It's almost like the icing on the cake. So if you're already winning business on LinkedIn, my advice would be sign up to Sales Navigator. That will give you the edge. If you're not yet winning business on LinkedIn, I'd say don't sign up yet. Let's just really get the other stuff in place so we can start winning business on LinkedIn, and then we can potentially invest further. Advertising, I've already said to you about that. There's so many different things I could talk to you about here. I could talk to you about remarketing. I'd talk to you about list marketing. I'd talk to you about pay-per-click advertising. I can even tell you that on LinkedIn, I can send an email out to a given target market. If I wanted to email accountants in London, I could do that, and LinkedIn would send it out for me without me ever having to buy a list or anything like that. Now, of course, there are lots of other things that you can do, but I'm quickly running out of time, so if I may, I just want to talk to you a little bit more about LinkedIn mastery. Right, okay, so quickly to go through it. The dates, it starts on the 7th of November. It runs through to the 12th. It's 1 hour a week on Tuesday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. In addition to that, you get a one-to-one meeting with me. And by the way, this training session will not have 250 people. I'm going to limit it, I think, to about 15 people. So you will be able to ask me questions. You will be able to say, I can't do it, can you help, Steve? And so on and so forth. So, I'll be there, I'll support you. We can have a meeting at another time, but you also get a one-to-one meeting with me, and you can just book that online. You don't have to travel anywhere, and we can do a Zoom call. You get access to my Results Mastery University, which contains a separate LinkedIn training program, but it also contains YouTube mastery, Facebook mastery, website mastery, pay-per-click advertising mastery, and altogether I think right now it's 13 different programs, so well worth looking at. And lastly, you get the support. So if you book your meeting, you have your 1 hour meeting, that doesn't mean you can't talk to me on a one-to-one basis. You got a problem, you got a question, give me a call, we'll set up a meeting, and I'll see if I can help you. So by the end of it, you're going to have developed your LinkedIn system. You're going to learn how to use associated technologies. I've already mentioned that. And you're going to develop a list. But most of all, what you're really going to do is you're going to have everything that you need to make that elusive 6 figures from LinkedIn. Now, that's not just hyperbole. That's an absolute fact. If you come on this training program, and by the way, it costs, it's not free, it's £199 plus VAT. For anybody who's, that's a bit of a challenge, we can break it down and do 2 payments of £99 or whatever, £99.50 I think it is. We can do that. That's not a problem at all. I don't want to, affect anybody's ability to come along. But honestly, this will be the best return on investment that you've ever made. It really will. If you actually do what you say you're going to do, and what we agree that you're going to do, and you attend all the sessions and you take action, you cannot fail to make money. Now, if you're a startup and this is your first day in business and you've got no LinkedIn contacts, it might take you a little while to get off and running. But if you're reasonably experienced, you've been around for a little while, you've got a database on LinkedIn, and all it needs is for you to take action within that, then, you know, there's no reason why you shouldn't make, I don't know, 10 times what it costs you by the end of the 6 weeks. There really isn't. So if you want a conversation, if you want to speak to me about it, feel free to do so. If you want to book it, you need to drop me an email. My email address is steve@steve-mills, mills.com. Just drop me an email and tell me that you'd like to attend, and I'll get you booked in, and all I'm going to do is invoice you. So with no fancy credit card things or anything like that, just tell me you want to come. I'll send you an invoice, you pay the invoice, you signed up, we start next Tuesday. So 7 days to go, don't delay. Thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to either seeing you on the next LinkedIn Live, or hopefully seeing you on Results Mastery on my daily sessions, but hopefully we can get you onto that LinkedIn Live and really get you winning business. Thanks very much for listening. LinkedIn, but I've been doing business growth advice now for 28 years, helping businesses to improve what they do. I've been so